It's Lyn Leahz, and I saw this link on Steve Quayle's website. It says NBC local crew stumbles across FEMA camp in New York, threatened and chased by government contractors. Now, I watched the video footage on this, and the officer is just, in my opinion, way out of line, and they're obviously hiding something. I'm going to play some of that video footage for you here in just a moment, but let me go over a couple of things just to highlight them with you real quick. So it says, where is your nearest FEMA camp? An NBC News crew may have stumbled across one in upstate New York or in upper state New York. Now let's go down here. They've got a map of all the FEMA camps. You can click on how it's all sectioned out. Now it says here there are some strange aspects to this report to begin with. Local NBC News claimed they were simply filming a news package for the 129th anniversary of Ulysses S. Grant's passing. And now the article here notes that it was a bizarre anniversary date, 129 years. That is an odd anniversary date, I will agree. And then they decided to use an abandoned prison as the backdrop while he was speaking to the camera. Quite the odd incident occurred, however, when a prison lieutenant rolled up. And you'll see that in the video footage I'll play for you. It says, according to the local NBC affiliate at WNYT, corrections employees who are still working at the empty prison made every attempt to stop Mark Mulholland from doing his job. This included a demand from a private contractor to get off state land and then to hand over the tape or face arrest. Why the secrecy? Why the stress on the part of the private prison contractors from Wackenhut or Serco when it's supposed to be closed? Clearly, this is not just an empty prison, as WNYT reported. Now, you can see here it says from IntelliHub, Wilton, New York. WNYT News 13's Mark Mulholland and his cameraman had a few rather interesting encounters with overly aggressive state correctional officers while trying to do a story on a historic monument, Grant's Cottage, which is located at the top of Mount McGregor. During the encounters, which were all caught on video, the crew was repeatedly asked to stop filming what appeared to be a closed prison facility in the backdrop. You are on state property right now. You can't film here, said the officer after pulling up to the news crew on a public roadway in an aggressive manner with his unmarked vehicle. And you will see that in the video footage I will show you in a moment. You're going to leave the mountain now, the officer continued, insinuating that the news crew was on the mountain for a different reason. After the conflict, the correctional officer, identified only as Lieutenant Dorn, radioed to his coworker to block the roadway, which you will also see in the video footage, with another vehicle as the crew tried to enter the historic monument where the supposed closed prison facility was. Finally, after bickering with Lieutenant Dorn and the state police for over an hour, the crew managed to be released with all of their footage. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you the video clip so that you can see for yourself how rude and odd this officer acts to these news crew people. Wait till you see this.
And Mark shows us what happened now live from our Saratoga newsroom. Good evening, Mark.
Well, good evening, Jim and Benita. In more than 20 years in the business, I've rarely encountered anything quite like this. We were doing a story on Grant's Cottage, but some corrections employees made their actions the story. Grant's Cottage is located at the top of Mount McGregor. Just yesterday was the 129th anniversary of the death here of President Ulysses S. Grant. We shot some of the reenactment Wednesday and were assigned to go back there today to get some additional shots. We were doing a piece on camera in the shadows of the empty Mount McGregor prison when a car comes speeding toward us.
Oh, hey, someone's coming fast. Watch your back.
This is the exchange photographer Matt Soriano and I had with a man who identified himself as a corrections lieutenant.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
No filming.
We're doing a story about Grant's Cottage.
Doesn't matter. You're on state property right now. You can't film here. You got to get the permission through Albany to film.
Okay, we can go shoot it from Grant's Cottage then.
No, you're not up here for that. You're up here for different purposes.
We're doing a story on Grant's Cottage as it relates
well,
to
you'll
the
have to
prison
take
closing.
that through Albany.
No, we'll just go back to Grants Cottage.
No, you're going to leave the mountain now.
No, we're going to go to Grants Cottage.
No, you're not.
You're rolling, right?
Yeah.
You're telling us we can't visit a historic site?
No, you're not. You're going to have to run that through Albany.
No, we don't run through Albany whether we visit a
You're on
historic
state
site.
grounds right now.
Well, we'll go to the historic site then.
You can go up there. You can't film.
Oh, yes, we can.
No.
Yes, we can. What's your name?
Lieutenant Doran.
Lieutenant what, Dorn? What's your first name?
It's Lieutenant Doran. Look, I'm not going to go around with you on this. You're going to leave the property.
We will. We'll go up to the historic site.
You cannot film up there.
We will go to the historic site and do our job.
You know what? Jeff, make sure they don't go up and call the state police. Have them removed.
Have us removed from a historic site, sir? So we proceeded to make our way closer to Grants Cottage, but another corrections employee parked his car across the road, denying and blocking our access to the historic site. So we're trying to get to Grants Cottage, and the state corrections officer is blocking the road. So you can see how this might deter people from trying to get to a prominent National Historic Site.
Can you move up a little so we can get to Grants Cottage, please?
After several minutes, he moves his car to allow other visitors to get to and from Grants Cottage and slowly inching his car along in front of us. Ironically, once there, we noticed a film crew apparently filming a movie on the grounds of the closed prison. On our way back down the mountain as we attempted to leave, Corrections Lieutenant Doran had called the state police, asked them to detain us, and demanded our video.
He's obviously leaving. I mean,
You can't leave with that film.
Can't leave with what?
You can't leave with the film of the jail.
If I'm a member of the public and I'm taking pictures of Grants Cottage and there is the facility in right behind it, what do you do in that
If we're
case?
aware that that facility's in the background, those photos will be confiscated.
Now, the man who identified himself as Lieutenant Doran said on several occasions if we didn't hand over the tape, he would have us arrested. After roughly an hour and calls between our newsroom leadership, state police, and the Department of Corrections, we were allowed to leave without surrendering the video we shot.
Now that you've seen the actual video news footage, you can somewhat have a better understanding of how bizarre this whole situation is. I agree with the author of this article. You know, the headline says NBC local crew stumbles across FEMA camp in New York, threatened, chased by government contractors. I agree with that. However, I do have to mention something on the side here. It looks as if, from what I've read, that this was private property and that this news reporter was standing on. Now that could present a whole other issue, okay, right there with the fact if it was private property. However, I still think that this was a government situation. It was too weird. I think that they did not want these reporters there because they were hiding a FEMA camp. And oftentimes FEMA camps are at old closed down prisons and so forth. That's what I believe. I do not know this for sure, and I'm not saying that is for sure what it is. I'm just stating that I agree with the author of this article here at 21st Century Now, I just want to add this as a side note. It seems, pretty interesting. It's from the TimesUnion.com. It says state officials said Friday they will close 4 prisons, including Mount McGregor in Wilton, and that is the prison that has been shut down that was in the background that all this commotion is about that you are seeing in the news video footage. It says including Mount McGregor and Wilton and 4 institutions for the developmentally disabled, including OD Heck and Niskayana. Mount McGregor's 320 employees and 455 inmates make it the largest correctional facility slated to close next July. Now, people were not happy about this. Look what it says here. Mount McGregor is one of 3 medium security prisons whose doors will be shut on July 26th of 2014. So this was just shut down a few months ago. It says a couple of other ones. It says, according to the State Department of Corrections and Community Supervision, the plan calls for employees to be transferred to other facilities in their vicinity or into civil service jobs with other agencies. 5 correctional facilities are within about an hour and a half of Mount McGregor. Now, the New York State Correctional Officers and Police Benevolent Association lambasted the decision, saying that the state's statistics showing there are empty beds are a product of double bunking of inmates in already crowded prisons. So they were pretty upset, stating basically that these statistics are incorrect because it looks like they've got all these open beds only because they're overcrowding um, the prisons. After spending the summer campaigning in upstate New York to demonstrate how much progress the economy has made, the governor is choosing to quietly announce on a Friday that he is going to put almost 700 upstate New Yorkers out of work in 1 year. Union President Don Rose said in a news release. Okay, so why were they in such a hurry to close down this prison and these other places? The statistics were obviously not entirely correct. Were they in a hurry because they want to use it as a FEMA camp? Because something is getting ready to happen soon and they're rushing around, uh, trying to make room for all the people they're going to store in these FEMA camps? I don't know, but I came across this. I was researching this prison, and it definitely seemed noteworthy to give you that information. Thank you. I will, of course, leave the link to this article in my article on Before It's News. You can go take a look at it. You can click on these, by the way. It just shows you a closer view of the map if you do. So you can click on that and check it out. And if you find any more information on this, some updates, something that is not contained within this article or video, please feel free and submit it below this video on my YouTube channel. Now, if it goes to spam, which it might, if you're putting a link in there, sometimes those go to spam. So if it goes to spam, I will approve it. I do check my spam folders regularly. So don't worry about that. But please feel free if you find anything else on this and submit it beneath the video. I would be interested in taking a look.